Like to call the meeting to order at 6:01. Stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And never have.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Amanda Isabel will be joining us in a little bit, and Danielle Thompson is en route. First on the agenda is the approval of the public and the non-public meeting minutes of January 11th of 2022.
I'll make a motion, we approve public and non-public minutes from January 11th. Second.
Thank you. Any comments? Any corrections? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, abstention. Do we have any public comments? I did. Okay,
He didn't wave to me today. I waved to him, but he didn't wave to
He's
me.
back. That's right, he's back. So tonight we have a presentation, and we have in our packet, it's a boys volleyball ESports club and a boys spring volleyball club. And we have our athletic director here with us. And he has a couple of volunteers that are going to be speaking to this. Yay! That's what so who would like to give us some highlights?
Excellent, so I'll start, and if
Okay.
you don't mind if I'll stand a little bit too, and guys, I'll
Yeah,
introduce
please.
you guys in a second. So, what we first want to present is the application for the boys volleyball club. Very exciting. To kind of give you guys a little bit of a heads up, we are a pretty strong girls volleyball program here in Division III. And what's great is it kind of works out. We already have the equipment. We have volunteers that are, as the students would say, probably voluntold that, hey, we might have a volleyball program here coming up for the boys. So we have a few volunteer volleyball coaches that are interested in helping out, get the momentum going on this club. And what's great too is it's in the spring, so there's no conflict with fall, and then in the spring, knock on wood, we'll get out there as quick as we can with baseball and softball and track. So that gym will be unoccupied to allow that group to use it. I am really excited about it because it was something that we were thinking about, and we as administrators and everybody have great ideas and everything, but for this one particularly, I had three students that came to me and said, Mr. Brown, I think this is a great idea. So just to kind of give you a little bit of logistics, it's a very small amount of teams that are boys volleyball. It's one division, so it's Division I. John Stark, Keene, Londonderry, Dover, so it's all over the map. Very similar. Travel would be about the same when we get to that point in the club process. But for year one, we'd start this spring, we'd follow the state, kids would sign up just like any other club that we do, but we'd follow the NHIA schedule, and we'd hold the kids to that, the same standards for that and in the same time frame. And it's just getting them familiar with the rules and just spark that interest. And then if things, continue like our other programs, year two, gain a little bit more momentum. Year three, potentially some scrimmages, working on getting some competitions. And then after year 3, we reevaluate and see if we're ready for that varsity status, that full varsity status. So, I'm done talking. I'm super excited about it, not as much as these two gentlemen that I have here tonight. I'd like to introduce Reese Roberts and Garrett Giovanoli that would like to speak a little bit about it.
So we are super excited for this potential club to be started. We would love to actually start a foundation for this school and potentially one day even get a state championship banner for volleyball, which I think would be incredible. We already talked to many students and they were so fond of it and they really would love to join.
As Garrett said, we have wide support from the student base so far. Like 3/4 of our soccer team's already signed up and a bunch of other kids. So we should have definitely enough bodies out there to have some fun, play some volleyball. And hopefully we can create something for this school that'll keep going and give other kids in the future an opportunity to play volleyball.
It's just another sport that would give a lot of their kids that extra opportunity, like Reese said, who might be afraid to take another step in another sport. It'll give them that chance to take a step in the spotlight and do what might be best for them.
That's great. Any questions? Kathy?
So my question is, are you in need of any funding for this club? Do you need uniforms to start with and things like that?
This is Mr. Brown question. So what's great is, since we already have a volleyball program already fully funded, we have the nets, we have all the safety, we have the, yes, Mr. Study, we have the equipment that needs to at least start the first year of it, so there's no out of pocket. The group would probably love to, get a shirt, some kind of thing that some representation. And we have some great support in our community with our boosters programs and, finding those opportunities to fundraise to get, that little extra. But that wouldn't be until, year 3 really to have some for travel especially, or have maybe a team or two come up this way. But yeah, no, it seems like we can get started as early as this spring.
Thank you.
So does that mean it coming into the spring, that it could be outside play as well?
Potentially,
I know.
absolutely. Our volunteers, have done that in the fall with the girls team.
Right.
So we can definitely use that beach volleyball as well. So yeah, we'll mix it up because we definitely want to spark that interest.
That's what it's about, that's for sure. Well, glad to hear it, thank you. Would you like to hear both presentations and then vote, or we'll grab this one and then hear the second one?
I want to ask a question, but
Oh, sure.
if we haven't
Sorry.
moved away from this yet.
No.
I don't know which one's Garrett, and I don't know which one Roberts is, so. Okay, so you got a lot of support from the members, for the student athletes, all right? So, does any of them play baseball, track, anything else in the spring?
Some of them do, yeah.
Some do?
Yeah.
So will they be able to do both?
They will, because it is a club team. It's not a full varsity sport yet, so they'll have that opportunity to switch back and forth.
You can do 2 sports, that, the same spring. Or any sport, fall, same thing. You play field hockey if they have a field hockey team, but we don't. We have a girls one. I just wanted to make sure, my only time when this stuff gets brought up is I don't want to dilute the sports programs that we have now, which it sounds like you won't, so that's fine. That's the only thing I get, my antennas go up, okay? Because we have the same thing with all the other sports. So if they can play, they can do that, then that's fine.
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So when they do go to varsity, if they do go to varsity, the whole state, they play in the spring. So there's never gonna be a conflict with equipment or with travel or anything like that with the girls volleyball team. So that's a little anomaly compared to the other sports, but I get it, it works out. No, this is great.
They're in the winner.
And what's
They're
great,
fun.
guys, is we, and again, it's gonna be new data. So when you look at girls volleyball in the fall, a large sample of our girls that play volleyball only play volleyball. So we're grabbing a different audience than, you know, our multiple sport athletes. And I think, as, you know, Reese and Garrett are saying here, is you're getting that extra, those outliers, those people that are like, ooh, yeah, that's something I can try, you know, and I'm not into the other sports, so, yeah.
Nice. Okay, anyone else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion on the
I'll make a motion that we approve the boys club, spring volleyball as presented.
second. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Move the question. Move
All
the-
those in favor of approving the boys volleyball for the spring as a club, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. And it's a unanimous passing. Do you need me to sign one of these now for you?
That would be wonderful.
And then when Amanda comes, she can sign it?
Sounds great.
Then he gives an update on the basketball game.
Yes.
Well, it's not till 6:30, but it's still way ahead of
Thank you
schedule.
guys so much.
Thank you.
And those on audience can see them.
Okay, and the second one we have is ESports Club.
Right, so I'm also here to spark up some interest. Cameron, can you pull up the slideshow? You guys do have a packet that was initially sent out to. Really, this slideshow here is going to be pretty quick. It's just so we're kind of all on the same page. Hopefully it does answer some questions that you might have. And then if we want to do some discussion and look at the packet, we can do that after we kind of visit the slideshow here. Real quick.
Sorry.
All right, so we go to the next slide, Kim. So first of all, you know, the who, what, where, why question about esports. And as you can see, we want to try to pilot one this spring, an esports club. There is multiple pieces of software out there that different schools use. We are going to choose the Rocket League as our game of choice to participate in. This will not occur on campus or in district. It will occur at the Helix Esports Academy in Exeter, New Hampshire. And the season starts March 1st through April 15th. And Saturdays 10:30 to 1:30 is at least what we're trying to book now. It would either be an hour earlier or a couple hours later on that Saturday if we don't get those times. But I kind of wanted to get in early. You kind of, that's a pretty good time, doesn't kill a whole Saturday for anybody, and I guess most kids, well, my son doesn't, but yeah, by 10 o'clock. Plus, it's a 2-hour drive, so you have to leave at 8:30.
That's
so
right.
If I rule him out, I don't know.
That's commitment.
All right, next slide, please. So, like I said, we're gonna pilot out of district with an experienced game and establishment that serves many different schools, mostly down, it seems like, in the Portsmouth, Exeter area initially. So we'll be one of the few schools from up here to kind of travel down there. As I mentioned, we'll have to transport. We have worked on getting a van. I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, we have district transportation, we have a 12-passenger van, we also have an SUV that we've definitely deployed when needed, and would definitely be the mode of transportation for this.
We will have to pay a joining fee. I do have an invoice for that. We can talk about that in a little bit. Seth is interested as a coach. I'm interested in helping coach and transport. Hopefully there's a couple other staff members that may want to participate. The good news with this, you know, in terms of, especially when it comes to transportation, and that we're going to a center that has all that we need. Really, you don't have to be a tech person. We just, you know, especially if it means just getting students to Exeter to join, you know, other schools there as well in competition for esports. We will do our practices in district, however. We'll meet one day a week to practice our esports skills. Go ahead, thanks. And as I mentioned too, why we chose the Helix Center is that we're not really equipped to participate in-house yet. And we would need some seed money to begin to even think about hosting our own esports kind of center, if you will. And it's just kind of not cost effective right yet to kind of propose that. But, you know, if this pilot works out well over a 3 or 4 year period, you know, maybe then we start considering that we could host our own on site. You know, one of the little sidebars here is, especially when me and Seth ended up going to the Helix, you know, we're meeting with the people that run it. First half hour, I'm sitting there going, okay, tell us something we don't know. And then about minute 31 to minute 59, right over our head. And that's when I realized there's no way we could do this here. There's a lot more to this than having a bunch of computers set up and saying, let's go game or esports or whatever. So pretty good idea to utilize a center that's got it all under control and serves many districts down in that area. So we do need to acquire a coach. It seems that Seth and I will no doubt parade this whole thing to begin with. You want to speak to that second part of that?
Yeah, so my, you know, again, esports, co-curricular, you know, this falls under my umbrella too, and Craig and I have been, and Seth have been working a lot of just getting all this so that we could make a really good educated decision on this. My part is the logistics, getting the kids down there, recruiting, promoting, you know, through social media, our announcements on the video boards, and registering them. We have the capability to do so with Family ID that we have already in place with our athletic programs. That would also be, you know, a great place to put the release forms and everything that come through, and will be presented at a future board meeting, you know, once we have, you know, those in place. On, you know, just making sure we have every, you know, T crossed and I dotted on that. And yeah, we want to go on the funding.
Yeah, and so, you know, after tonight, whatever's decided, especially if we decide to go forward, this, you know, this will begin in earnest tomorrow. Securing funding, you know, we have rented space at Helix. Again, we're talking about 10:30 to 1:30 spot. They have an on-site coach that they will support us with. This will fall under the umbrella of a curriculum. It isn't just go there and you play games or whatever. This is a curriculum, as though any sports team imparts, you know, camaraderie, teamship, discipline, you know, problem solving, all those things. And, you know, I put uniforms there. I don't know if we can get some shirts that represent our school. We will be among many other, you know, schools on occasion. I don't know how possible that'll be, but we can talk about that. I do have the practice days already all scheduled out. Those can be flexible, obviously, but I wanted to get something in stone that as we could start presenting and selling this to the students hopefully tomorrow. You know, those are the dates that they can plan on. The season's pretty short, goes from March 1st, really to April 1st. April 6th and 13 are usually your state playoffs and state championships. Don't know if we'll get that far this year, but really April 1st. So we're literally looking at, you know, 30 days maximum as a season. And this is, I do have to say, this is the league that Helix is promoting is the first year that they're doing it as well. They've supported teams that come with their own agendas just to host the building, because like I said, it's expensive to start your own. But this is the first time they are creating their own league. So, you know, it's a little different than other things, and they're kind of going through it too. So they want to make it a simple month and a half to try to get success under their belt and then go back and reflect on what they can do better going forward.
And to go on what Craig was saying there about the window, the time, March always tends to be that month where there's not much going on, including sports or whatnot. So, you know, winter's still kind of trucking along, and, you know, kids and students and everybody's kind of looking for something to do. This is another great avenue for a large part of our population to be interested in. So, yeah, I like the time frame.
Good, Cameron. And this is the slide that I like the most, actually. And this to me sums it all up. And because I want to make clear, and if you look at that, what does the playing field look like? If you think of a team, a football team, you got the quarterback, center, split ends, defensive ends, whatever. you have positions. Same thing here. If we have 10 kids that sign up for this, only 3 will be gamers. We'll have content creators, we'll have streamer production type people, we'll have casters, which are your broadcasters, and data analytics and programmer people to help support those who are playing. So in general, the team consists of not just game players. If we go ahead, I think 1 or 2 slides, just want to point something out too. Yeah, very interesting in the survey we sent to the students. Immediately we had 60 students. I think it was the fastest anytime we sent out a survey that
3
kids
days,
are-
it was
so
so
there's,
fast.
there's an interest out there. But what's interesting about this is there was a large segment of that group that although many were interested in the gaming part of it, there was a pretty significant portion who were interested in the content creation, the broadcasting, the stream production, the programming and analytics. I thought that was so cool to know that, there's some kids that maybe they just don't want to go do the gaming part, but there are all those supporting things there. And all 3 of those up there listed are things we're doing in the AV Club now. So that's kind of a great little transition. Hopefully some of those students would want to cross over and help with the broadcast and stream production and content creation. And some of that stuff is, I'm only the general understanding because that's all I understand. Some of that stuff's a little heavier than the content creation. I don't know what that really entails. I know that when you broadcast, you kind of have your own flavor on how you produce yourselves. You know what I'm saying? You look a little different than everybody else. Kind of like your TV station or your own, like our football team or baseball team would look different where we play than if we went somewhere else. Your own identity, if you will. How's that? So I think that wraps up. Unless you want to go back 1 slide to the E-rate. Are you interested in esports? I think probably most of you guys saw this. So our 6 response, that's kind of the breakdown right there. So pretty good numbers.
Did you want to go back? Did you say go back to something?
What's that?
Did you say go back to something?
No, that was perfect right there.
Beautiful.
That's perfect. If you want to show that last slide, we can just end
yeah.
or I don't know if you put it as a slide. So, in the esports world, I don't know if you guys can see that, but these are, related professions that those students who get really involved in the esports world, it's quite, and I can send this to you if you guys can't see it quite good enough there. But those are certain professions that, are content related as you acquire esports skills. And again, if you want that, I can send that to you, because I can't see it from you.
Yeah, that would be nice to see.
So that's it from my angle, Rodney, unless there's something, I'm assuming they don't have to do concussion testing.
No, and what's nice is, we can go off of what Helix has done before, and when me and Craig, we're really kind of talking about this too. This is new for Helix as well too. So we're learning just as much as they are. And what's great too is having that coach provided. So whomever the person is, a stipend position, Craig or Seth that go down with the kids, they're going to be learning the curriculum as well, so that down the road, that piece of the invoice of saying, the coach is in it, that can come away, because then we will know the curriculum, we'll know kind of the ins and outs of the program, and that'll, in time, it'll be something that we know in-house. So that's a pretty exciting thing too. So whomever our representative is that goes down there with the students, they're gonna be learning as well too, so that they can come back and report to Craig or Seth and whomever. So it'll definitely be a learning experience for everybody.
I do want to add to one of the visits we made, and they've been actually partnering with us, and I've had them hold off a little bit until we find out what's going on for tonight, is Southern New Hampshire University. We met with their esports center and the directors there, and they're super excited to support us. Anywhere from an internship, I said send us some swag. In fact, I may even take one of these practice sessions to have our students go and visit their esports center that they have on campus. And he's been in touch with me regularly. What do you guys need? I said, well, I know you. We wait, find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, we already have some outreach from some collegiate type people. And they do speak of, and I was even told from Healers Academy people, there are real scholarships given out for this. They have had 3 kids on the spot after a state championship given scholarships. So it is a real thing in terms of that. One of the interesting stories, one of the students that was really into the esports league and excelled well, also excelled in tennis. And the parents, spent a lot of money on the students, sent them all these camps all over the place. The student ends up getting an esports scholarship, another tennis scholarship. Right back at you, Mom.
All that for back in.
So that's kind of my piece, unless there's anything else you want to add or any questions?
Questions?
Are you gonna have any? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go.
Go ahead.
You're so polite.
I had a couple of questions. Do we know where the NHIA stands with pulling up esports as a varsity sport within the state?
That's a great question. The Maine Principals Association, which is the NHIA is pretty much they're the same thing. They're in the process, if not, this spring, adopting it as a varsity sport. And when I spoke to, our state affiliation, you could tell that they were waiting for like a domino to drop.
Yeah.
And I think once one starts, you're gonna see all of them start to do that. So with SNHU and all those things that are going on, it's St. Thomas. There's a lot of area schools in New Hampshire that are have these programs up and doing it, and it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
It really is.
The MPA meets January 29th to begin that kind of snowball.
Great. Because if it's a club that is affiliated with the sports program, it can also get support through mini grants through Royals Athletic Boosters as well, because of the way that we wrote our charter. So that's an opportunity there as well. And the other thing I was gonna ask, 2 more questions. Will the game change every season, so that you are perhaps bringing in different types of kids that are looking for different types of game experience?
Yes, there are up to 6 games that we could have chosen from.
Yep.
The Rocket League was most advisable due to many things, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last but not least, is Twitch on the list of approved websites? If that's where the streaming, the casting will happen.
Twitch TV, they do use Twitch TV. As far as the vetting goes, because it's going to be through their service.
Yep.
It will be broadcasted to them
Okay.
in their location. I don't believe at that point we have to vet it here.
Yep.
We can, and I can look more into that, but that's the way I understand that.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
So I'm the funding is okay, as is right now. And I was curious about this, so it's that you buy these packages, it looks like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so.
And that's for everybody, or is it per person?
No, so I went with the dining package. I went big or go home. Because I thought it was important to have the curriculum. And I didn't want to, I wanted to know what the highest level of what this can be. And and it's less than, in total, this will be less than $3,000 in total. So we chose the, I'm going to put a diamond package.
The other thing I'm curious about, so you said you would be switching games. Does that mean that you have to go to Valorant, Apex Legends, or chess, because those are the only ones?
Well, initially that's what their offering is, so it's their first year too.
Okay.
So, I don't know what other games would go forward. I don't know.
Are we gonna put any parameters on it, like no first shooter games? you know,
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, because those other two are
Yeah.
first shooter ones, I guess.
Absolutely.
That's at least, yeah. That'll be baked into the program.
Right, and I think what we'll do is, you know, think through a successful pilot season, and then we'll assess, you know, and say, okay, you know, into our next season, what game might we want to choose?
Right.
And then break it down from there. And see which offerings they have. I don't know, there's a lot of them out there.
I have a question. So what I do like about the Diamond package is it has streaming content creation curriculum, because like you're saying, that's not something that's unusual for a sport. It's not something that most kids would think about when they think esports. And I liked how, you know, you surveyed the kids that were interested in it, but I wonder if you'd get even more if you told them about that aspect of it first. Because there are plenty of kids that I can think of that are not, they don't want to play video games. Oh, but I get to be a broadcaster? Absolutely, you know, so like pitching it in the different angles, I think this has all sorts of different ways you can get to it. So I appreciate that. And then my other question was really, or my only question really, was, is this something that you can get like local businesses to sponsor, like different computer companies or, you know, tech companies or anything like that in the area? And then work with them to bring more things here ultimately, you know? So.
Yes, I mean, I'm gonna say with, you know, hesitation.
Right.
Again, depending on how all things kind of rolled out and, you know, what the price was, because when I met with Helix 2 or 3 times, they wouldn't give me a price. I'm thinking, oh my God, is it $3,000 or 25 grand or 400 grand, you know, what's this gonna be? So I how do I wanna say this, let's just say I spotted a donor previously. This is, you know, if something has to come to that route in terms of that particular avenue,
yeah,
then fine, but we don't need to start that initially, but to go out and somehow, whatever the rules all are, to make that happen.
Good.
Yeah, so like I said, we've got SNHU already has a contact, and hopefully that would help. Helix will have some contacts, I'm sure there's schools there, they've been doing this for 3 or 4 years down there. So I would have to kind of learn that process. I know there's rules here, there's rules there, and I certainly would hope, you know, over the season-ish, that we definitely establish those for sure.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
And of course, New England College created their esports stadium, I think they call it, a couple of years ago. So that's another,
Okay.
another.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that one. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay, anyone else? It sounds intriguing. I'm lost, I'm not a tech.
Well, and I want to add to Tim's point. You know, and Amanda set us up with a PR person as well. But you are right in that Rodney and I are going to have to quote unquote promote this in a way that is just not the e-sport thing you might be thinking of to the student body.
Correct.
So we've got tomorrow morning. We ain't got a lot of time. The season starts March 1st. We got our first practice by February 13th. So we've got some promoting to do with parents, staff, community over the next couple of weeks. And we do have to, you know, promote it on that line. Because we do want those students. And I'd love to see 3 AV students come over to that. That would be so awesome.
Cool.
It's similar to the type of promotion that has to be done for the regional high school robotics club, because not everyone is looking for coding or the mechanical experience. Some of them want to be on the business side of things, crafting the pitches, making the presentations, doing the fundraising, and getting that real world experience. So I think it's a great opportunity to think of these more comprehensive type of activities and that our kids can be involved with, and it's great experience, good skill set.
I do want to add, I know we keep talking, I keep remembering things, that it isn't a fixed thing either. So let's just pretend we won't bring more than 10 students with us. Well, if there's 30 students, we can swap them out. Another 10 could come the next week, another 10 could come the next week. So there's no fix. So, because we want to showcase this to the kids. I mean, when the students walk into this building, they're just gonna go, I mean, it's, you know, like an arcade on steroids in our world. You know? And it's unbelievable, and I hope a lot of kids you know, even if it is for that one day, on that Saturday. And if Saturday turns out not to be a good day, we could do our practice day on Wednesday if we want to.
All right. Anything else, anybody? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the esports program as presented to start as a pilot program.
Second.
Anything further?
My question, in this motion, should we include funding up to 3,000?
Will that cover what you need? I mean, you talked about the 1,000.
Yeah, so I believe the quote they sent me was about 2,900. When you look at the breakdown here, with 100 for the day, the 150 with the Rocket League curriculum, the 1,000, and I can't remember what the other fee was. But I have the invoice, I can share that with you guys. I know when I looked at it, because I was like nervous, it was gonna be like 20,000, 30,000. So they would never tell me the price, like, well, we don't wanna talk about that right now. And then then I just say, look, I need to know, you know, I've got a presentation, we've got, you know, budget stuff, you know, I need to know what it's gonna cost us. It's gonna be way out there, that's a whole different discussion. And then they sent it to me, and it was like I remember it being less than 3, and I go, oh my God, okay, we can pull this off.
Okay.
All right, then I'll amend the motion to cover up to 3,500, just to cover yourself.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Danielle?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
What-
The motion is the approval of the esports club with a funding up to $3,500.
I'm sorry.
What's the cost, that's for the cost of this programming, what's the expense gonna be for the travel and all that stuff, where's that coming out of?
They'll be using the
What?
van, they're gonna be using the van, the school van.
Yeah, I know, it's still an expense, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, how does it work now, Rodney, when somebody,
If it's, depending on affiliation, it comes out of, you know,
I
for
just-
sports, it comes out of my line. You know,
Yeah, you're just gonna have to have, you know, you gotta have budgeted for
Mhm.
expense money for that. That's why, you know, nobody thinks of that, you think of what cost that's gonna cost you, you need to have that, you got tolls, you got, you know, tolls ain't much, but, you know, cost of, you know, fuel and whoever's driving, if you got, you know, you have to pay somebody to drive down there or not, you know, I'm just trying to make sure you're covering that. That's all.
How many times will you be going to Exeter?
no more than 8.
8.
No more than that. Now, that's if we decide to participate in this championship, either to go be a visitor or, you know, a spectator, or whether, no, maybe we would be in it.
So you're saying it comes out of your line item, Rodney? That's what we're talking about, transportation?
Me and Craig are working together on this, and I know that we've said that, you know, both of our budgets, we find the money to make it happen.
Well, he'll just come and ask us for more money. He'll just come ask us for more money for E-Ray. He always comes in and tells me, he says, here, Bruce, I got this coming up the next board meeting, I need some more money for my computer. I mean,
Well, that's why, didn't you catch the word in parentheses, yet,
Yeah,
when it was 20K?
yeah, we're not there yet, that's right.
And if
I'm
you're
just-
using the school van, that means that it's not an extra driver,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
whoever, it's someone employed by the district that is going down as an advisor.
Yeah.
Usually.
just so you have enough money covered, that's all.
Well, that's the extra 500 over.
Yeah.
They can use that 3,500 for that.
If you're gonna go 10 times, you figure $100 a shot each time, that's $1,000,
So,
just to be, you know, off the top.
all right, anything else? Thanks for that, Kathy. Okay, so if there isn't anything else, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions, and it carries. You are approved.
Yeah, fun.
Nice. Well, thank you for coming in. Do we have any public comment?
Just one,
Yeah, yeah.
put in for a friend from Mascoma mini grant.
I was gonna say that too, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
And let us know when we can watch online.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we absolutely will share it and put it on the district webpage and whatever, you know? So,
Can you get DraftKings in here too?
there you go, yeah, now you're talking.
That's the adult version.
Well, Bet on all the football games.
They already are, right?
Yeah, that's all I can think of, is sitting there going, eBay, oh, good, we got some DraftKings coming up. Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna bet some money on that.
Super. Do we have one for the e-sport? I do not see one.
Do we have one of these for the esports? Did it already come through?
It was, I wanna say it was under, we can get another one in there as well, but we had it under like AV.
Oh, with AV, I'll have Martha
Yeah,
look for it again.
Put the language had
Okay.
esports in there, just,
pull out
we
the
can get a
rubber
separate
stamp.
one too.
Just want to make sure that that's. Okay.
Got two alumni sitting in this room anyway, from Southern New Hampshire. He's right there in back here.
You got three.
Where's that, I am?
You too.
You went there too?
So, yeah,
You went to the
There
four of
you
us?
Got my master's there.
that's where, yeah, so did I.
Oh, wow, I learn something new every day, you know? Could be referenced that.
He got his undergraduate with the monks.
Hey, I'm still going, I like to energize a rabbit.
I was a monk, yeah.
Just gotta put the battery
Oh,
back
all right, well, continuing business. Budget committee public hearing that was held on the 12th of January.
It's the first quarter score update.
Approval.
Yeah, it's budget committee, it's just
Yeah.
in there for information purposes only. Co-curricular activities, which met on the 13th.
So you have minutes in your packet, but I had it down for the wrong time in my calendar, so I sent over information and then double booked myself with a work meeting. So I'll turn it over to Hope or Amanda if they want to share anything about it. It's pretty standard stuff I think
Yeah,
on here.
it was pretty short and sweet. Rodney gave us some good information on national trends for co-curricular activities and went over some kind of interesting trends in terms of the changing of, flavors of sports and kids not necessarily, getting too engaged, by the, anyways. I believe he shared that with.
I shared it with the committee, but I haven't shared it with the whole board. Maybe we can put it in the next board packet?
Sure.
And they're still working on the fair, and they're going to be looking at doing a virtual club fair in the spring, I think. There was, that was kind of the good workaround for now, with ultimately the goal to get it in the fall. But for now, this is, the best way to look at it. They were going to be sending out the survey results for IRS, and to rework the high school survey to make it a little bit middle school friendly. So, but I don't think, that we should find out about next time. And then hopefully we're gonna have the AV kid clubs come present something, and then hopefully next time we can look at the handouts from Danielle and more survey results. So I think we're just getting good information in from the kids and getting a better grip on what people are interested in. And I think, just at some point, I think we can, I mentioned bringing in the student council, and trying to get a little bit more ground up kind of interest and ownership. So, yeah, meet March 31st.
Nice, thank you.
Except if we have the right time. So that's good on that? 3:30, right? We're good? Yeah, okay.
Still haven't beat my meeting time though. My meeting
Joint
time.
Force Management Committee met on the 14th of January.
Committee.
Well, Amanda, looks like you're up.
Here I am. So we did meet there. It was also very short. And basically, we went through the workers' compensation claims, looking for ways, as this committee is tasked to do, to either educate people, our employees, as to how to be safer in the workspace, or to put in place measures that would prevent accidents. So you can see that we did have 3 workers' comp claims. We've realized that in this committee, we do need the voice of the special education department. So we are looking to bring in Chris Biso. And if Chris is unable to attend, we're looking to bring in one of the building level special ed coordinators. So either Brooke Ross or Jeff McLean, so that they could come in and kind of help, see some of these, because I don't think that they're also privy to some of these accidents or reports. There was number 2 was a medical issue, and then there was number 3, not enough information for us to be able to make a recommendation as to whether or not it was an issue with the facility or an issue with training that needed to be provided. So this group has done a lot of work in creating a supplemental sheet that goes with the reporting form. So we'll be looking at making sure that that's being filled out. So that had not been filled out with any of those 3, so we'll be looking to make sure that that is filled out, so that we can give better recommendations as we move forward with this committee.
And the next meeting is May 4th at 2:30 at the high school library. Okay, EIC, met on the 20th.
Yep, so we met with Angel and Kevin Toll on the 20th, and we spoke about senior service projects, which I'd like to put on maybe next board meeting's agenda, so we can really get into it. But basically, Angel did some, and that way Angel can come here and talk to us about it, or virtually. And so there's 3 different ways to do it. There's, just briefly, there's either a senior seminar class where they can either take it as an elective or required to graduate. They have to take like a seminar. Either a service project that exists outside of a class, or a tiered diploma, like a diploma of distinction, where if you do extra service, community service, it goes on as a special type of diploma. So those are different types of things we can look at. But yeah, we can talk about that next meeting. But the time frame basically would be to look as offering a senior seminar elective next year, so that kids can kind of get their toes wet and they have like a pilot program, and then by the class of 24 have hopefully enough of a program in place where they can start feeling it out, and they'll know about it ahead of time because they'll be juniors and they know about it and yada yada. So anyway, there's that. We can talk about that next time. Kevin Cole shared updates about program and studies. She put in some notes below that you can see in there. I won't go into all the changes, but the biggest thing that they did, and I don't think they even realized, is that they cut a lot of electives into semester-long courses for a half credit. So instead of taking like, let's say, where are we? So like, let's say instead of taking ceramics for a whole year, you would take ceramics 1, ceramics 2. And you get a half credit for each and just pair them together if you want to do the whole thing. But if you were a student who's like, well, I don't really know what I want to take, I just want to dabble with this, they'll take a half credit of ceramics and then might take a half credit of woodshop or a half credit of family science or whatever. So it allows them to really mix up their choices, which is really good. That's good. Biggest thing is they're changing the social studies order, where they're doing a global studies in 9th grade. Right now it goes civics, economics, and US history, and then electives, and then now it'll be 9th grade global studies instead of civics, and then 10th grade will be US history, 11th grade will be history, civics, and then 12th grade, then you can do economics or electives at that point. The thought is that introducing kids to like where they fit in the global community is a little bit, it gives them a good platform to start their high school career, and it kind of incorporates a lot of things for all their courses. So like that, they did some paring down of science. You can read the notes there. Cleaned up the Mascoma 101 stuff and put it into the health classes and middle school curriculum. And so this is all going together with the schedule, the course of studies, and then looking at the teacher's contract, which will be next, and then proposing new classes. And Angel's also talked about a way she's had where teachers can kind of throw together, like they can put together a class, and I think in the next couple of years, we'll start seeing more of that as teachers become more comfortable with the idea of pitching a class and like basing it on what kids like and what they like, so. Talked a little bit about dual enrollment, not too much, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions? Okay.
I wondered if when you checked at the senior seminar class, for senior projects, would the goal be for those to be individualized, customized, or small group or whole group?
That's kind of where we're at, we don't know. So we wanted to leave it flexible enough where if a kid says, I want to do this one thing by myself, they can do it, but like maybe capping a limit as to how big a small group can be of like 3. Because otherwise it starts to become who's really doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And it's, or they can pair up, whatever it is, but that project should be twice as, almost twice as big as a single person. So it's things to do with logistics, so it's very malleable, and kids can really customize it based on all these different ways that they've done it in places, so. Yeah.
And will there be resultant changes in things like the arts requirements? I like the idea of breaking something down into the cap credit so that you have more, the students have more opportunity to try out different things and see if they really like them. But knowing that like wood shop, you have to take, it's not first semester wood shop, it's second year or second semester wood shop that you get the art credit into it, because you've done kind of the basics in the first level of the woodworking class, and then you get to design more things, and it's more artsy in that second semester. Will that have an impact on? Will that be impacted in the program of studies?
I don't know, that didn't come up, but I'm sure they'll look at that, because they want to make sure it's still not too, they didn't reckon anything that was working well,
Yeah.
It was really more about breaking up some classes that were awfully daunting if you're a kid looking at trying to schedule it out. It's like, do I really want to take family consumer science all year long, or do I want to take it for half the year and try something else? Or maybe, and it's like any of these classes, they can dip their toe in. They changed the names of some of them to make them more attractive, like for example, with computers, changing it from Tech Com 1, now it's Intro to Computer Assisted Design, and Advanced Topics in CAD. So it's more practical and more understanding. So they did, I think they did a really nice job, just like cleaning it up, and they added an entrepreneurship course for half credit. Accounting, instead of doing a full year of accounting 1, accounting 2.
Yeah, and hopefully knowing that we have issues with transportation and trying to get kids here for some co-curricular type of programming, thinking about some of these newer topics and how they can be incorporated into the curriculum would be great. Like if the entrepreneurship class is affiliated with, say, starting a school store, and they could run that. Or if, you could have multimedia class as a complement to the AV club. Right. Those sorts of things where you might get people, who would be interested from a curricular standpoint and can come during the school day, and may not have that opportunity to do so after school. It's a great way to utilize equipment and expertise in the building already.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? All right. Seeing none, superintendent's report, I'll turn it over to Amanda.
You do have my written report in your packet, and I will once again give the disclaimer that this report is written approximately a week in advance, so if some information has changed, it has changed. And we all know that we are in a time where things change within 24 hours. So you do see that I use this report. I went to give a number of cases, and then I didn't, because we were seeing huge numbers that week. We also saw large numbers in the reports that I put out daily on Monday. And then we saw a nice high number, I believe 17 again today. So quite a few numbers. So instead, I've put down a couple of the more frequently asked questions, if you will, that go along with what some of the responses to the public questions. People are emailing me and asking me things like, why haven't we closed school with all these cases? And the simple fact is we are not seeing community spread. And that is holding firm. It held firm a week ago and it is still holding firm here. Are we seeing maybe that, for instance, there might have been a few cases on one of our sports teams? Yes, that could potentially be true. I can't attribute that to sports practices or the time that the children are spending outside after school. I can't control birthday parties. I can't control, when people take their kids swimming or to play an indoor sport or something like that. So we're doing our best here. And to date, we are seeing no classroom spread the virus, which is very exciting for us. People have asked me how many of the positive cases are actually vaccinated people. I can't tell. I wish I could, was the response I gave. I am not allowed to mandate that people, adults or students, give us that information. So there is no way for us to tell how many people are vaccinated and test positive or unvaccinated and test positive. I've also been asked if I could break down the data by students that not just attend a certain school, but also are at per town, is what I was asked. I'm struggling with that because if I give out the data by school and then by town, I feel like I may point the finger at certain kids, or people may be able to figure it out. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I understand that people are concerned about their towns and letting their kids participate with other kids in town. So I'm trying to figure out a good way to do that. I just haven't found it yet. And when can my child return to school is also a question, whether they're testing positive, they have a positive family member, or whatever it may be. So the nurses at the schools have all that information. So I once again will point parents and return them to that. I've also included the isolation and quarantine guidance that the New Hampshire DHHS has done. So the link was there if you were looking at it electronically. You could just click that link. It was also an email I sent out to everyone, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I sent so many emails, I just don't know. But I do appreciate people's patience. People are worried. They think schools should be closed. I'm hoping that eventually we plateau out. COVID is everywhere. It is just everywhere. People are concerned when they get the COVID letters from our principals. I get 2 or 3 of them a day myself, right? It's just the nature of where we are and where the time that we live in. So we're doing the best we can in schools. We are testing students if they need to be tested. We are helping families with resources if they need to be tested. We are making sure that students get work. Our teachers have been excellent about using the Google websites and Google Classroom to keep students up to date. So we are doing the best we can, and we just continue to forge on. So thankful for the community and thankful for our teachers and staff that are really holding tight. Canaan Elementary School has had wonderful attendance by their staff, just absolutely amazing. They've just done a really good job of getting to school. And I know that's a problem for a lot of other schools in the state, but our teachers are coming to school and we appreciate that, as are the rest of our staff. So much appreciated to our employees.
Okay, any questions for Amanda? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the business administrator's report. That's all.
Good evening, you have my written report in your packet. We had auditors come the week before last for just one day in the office. It was a very painless event. They were here for about half a day. They collected a few documents and things went very, very smoothly. Much to the benefit because they could upload a lot of things to a portal ahead of time and do a lot of the legwork before they came. So that was really helpful. You have a copy of the draft of the financial statements produced by the auditors. Just a little light reading if you're in the mood. The point I think that is really important is the last few pages where they state that they find no issues of non-compliance, no issues with reporting, which is all good. They will also release the final version of this draft report when they receive signatures on the management representations letter, which also you have a copy of to read. It's basically just a statement that they've, taken the responsibility to do our financial reporting. They will do corrective action if necessary. It's pretty standard letter of acceptance for doing our auditing report. So I asked the board to accept the management representations letter, which requires a board chair signature. If you have any questions, Ryan?
I have a question because my W-2 is inaccurate,
Yes.
and we've been talking about the situation. So how is that affected by the audit that they've done?
No,
Why is it not?
because this is generally our expenditures of the general fund, and I think the payroll with revised W-2 will be reflected in the next audit,
When's the next audit?
next year.
See, I have a hard time wrapping my head around because the payments have been made in this year.
Right.
So,
So is this the audit for fiscal year 2021?
2021.
2020 to 2021?
Yes.
Okay,
We got
last
paid,
school year.
So
We
as
got
of
last
June
school year's
30th,
we
2020.
got paid for everything this year, last year for everything, the whole cycle compared to when Deb was there.
Right.
She split it up from fall to the spring, so it was different. So I haven't even opened mine up. I know what mine's gonna look like because it's a combination of the year past, of last year plus part of this year, which it's on this 1099. It's gotta be, because we got our full payment in the fall, when we never used to. We used to get half of it in the fall, half of it in the spring, around February, March.
well, that's what I'm questioning.
Well, you're not gonna get one in February, March.
We're working on
Yeah,
that. There was a
it's
glitch
different.
in the system.
Because
Yeah.
when we got the check, I saw the check, I went, that's
Oh.
for the whole year, you know?
Right. That was a problem with the Tyler software that we're still working on.
Okay.
Deb and Katie are working on that, and we're gonna issue a revised W-2 for you. But more specifically to your point, your payments happened after the close of the fiscal year FY21.
No, not all of them.
The most recent one in September and October?
The close of the fiscal year was June 30th, 21, right? Okay, so I received a payment in March of 21.
Yeah.
And then a second payment in September of 21, which is the new fiscal year.
Right.
And 2 weeks later, another payment on October 1st of 21.
Right.
And so that results, instead of receiving the $700 stipends, I have received 14.
Yes.
And you won't know that until you look at your W-2, so you gotta go home and open it up, make sure your W-2 is right for the rest of the board members.
Oh, I mean, I didn't get an extra $700 check.
You said you received a full payment of like 623.
I did in the fall, but I got one last year before that. Last year, like in March, because Deb split them up, like I was trying to say, it was 350, and without taxes taken out, and so I envision, when I open mine up, it's gonna show that amount plus what I got in the fall. Which I said, well, I won't get one in the spring. If you get one in the spring, then it's a mistake.
You got two $700 payments.
Nope.
No.
Yes, it is.
Well, I guess we better talk to Kathleen.
Rob, is it true that in the audit, they're looking for material discrepancies, and they definitely have a dollar limit? I mean, they allow for a minor amount of discrepancies in just about every, I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying, is that, if there's a small problem that isn't considered a material, like,
No. Yeah.
Right,
Is that-
they're more, they look for more, things like procedures of how we report things. To make sure that, documentation and supporting documents and, generally accepted accounting principles are followed. So isolated incidents of errors are not really part of what they're looking for.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll go back and fix your W-2 and we'll, figure out the payments. That doesn't really affect the substance of how we conduct our accounting, and the auditing is there to check that.
On the other hand, what most concerns me as an elected official, my stipend is 7, and I have received double.
Right.
And that's why I want it corrected for my personal comfort, because I also have a responsibility towards this audit. And it's not, to me, it's not a good situation for anyone on the board to be in.
Right.
I would agree, Kathleen, and I think it would show up. I think your March payment would be okay, but I think the other 2 payments that you're talking about this fall would trigger in the next audit. That is my guess. So I think we need to make sure that Rob will be on top of that, and he will be looking at it, and y'all may get to write us a check. So I'll pre-apologize for that, but I do agree, Kathleen, that we want to keep things like on the straight and on the level, especially where you all are elected officials, and I thank you for that.
I'm confused anyway now.
Don't worry about it, we'll find you if we need to.
You ain't gonna find me,
We will.
I'm using it, but I don't.
So in regards to this letter, you're looking for a motion from the board to accept it?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion that the board authorizes Cookie to sign, Cookie and Amanda to sign, and Rob signs.
The management
The
representation.
management representation letter, yes, sorry.
I'm gonna flip them anyway.
Anyone else have any
Doesn't
other
matter,
further
problem
comments or questions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions.
Something we won't see a check this spring. Right? We won't
Public
see a
comment
check this
responsive date, I believe we are set. Deliberative session discussion. So this is the part where everyone knows what they're doing, right? This is the first time I've speak. Don't know what you can say.
You shouldn't blow, remember?
I know, right?
That felt like
Yeah.
voting.
Go back
Well,
again.
you better get Sununu's sign language person there.
Does
Danielle, she
anyone?
keeps us drafted.
Does anyone have any questions or, I know we've had speaking points before. I don't know if you're comfortable with doing your own, if you like some help from, Rob or Amanda. So, feel free to reach out, but.
Yeah, feel free to give us a call. Be happy to provide you with any information, especially an updated numbers that you might want. So we'll make sure we'll get you some updated numbers, send us an email, whatever you'd like to do. But we will get you some updated numbers, because I know Danielle, I think you have the accreditation, so you'll want to make sure I give you the exact amount of years.
Yeah.
And what we currently have, especially, and then the facilities, hope we'll make sure to give you some specific numbers on that also.
And then I will just touch base with you in the next couple days, or the next week, on the exact percentages that we finalized for the negotiations and stuff, so.
Great.
And we have the data on page 29 in the book to refer to as well. Then you can get into the specific questions,
Sure.
if there are any.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Do we know who's coming up from the law office yet?
Peter Phillips.
Oh,
Attorney
okay.
Peter Phillips.
And what time will we plan to?
Still meeting at 8:30.
8:30. Do you have plates?
Well, the conference room, right?
Yeah, or we can meet here in the library.
Oh, in the
other
library.
place. Library, I prefer down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that's
nice.
fine.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, there's more space here. Okay. Super. All right, moving along, new business, 2022, 2023 calendar approval.
So it does say approval by that, Cookie. I would rather we did not approve it this evening. I'd like just some input from the board on that. There are a couple of things, so, and I think, there may be some discussion by parents. I'd like to give parents fair warning. So if you don't mind, I'm just gonna jump
Yes,
into it.
please.
So we typically follow the Hartford calendar because our kids do attend the Career Tech Center there. So we try to align as best we can to their calendar. So our Hartford kids don't attend on days, miss time at Hartford is basically where we're at. So if you look at the calendar here, I'm going to go through and briefly tell you what changes we made. And these are changes that the MVREA, MVRSS have had input, teachers have had input in the faculty meetings, principals have had input. Some of the input makes sense. Some of the input would be to move a whole vacation, right? So you look at February vacation, I'm jumping ahead, which is not great, but just for example, February vacation is fairly close to April. Typically we get 8 weeks in between there. That is not the way that Hartford did it. So we have held pretty firm to the week of February break and the week of April break. You will see, however, that we are starting school on the 29th, which is a Monday. Hartford does not start on the 29th. They start on the 30th. So we would actually be starting a day ahead of them. However, the difference being, we typically give our families a 4-day weekend on Labor Day weekend. Hartford would go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and instead we're proposing that we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then have the 4-day weekend again. If it pleases the board, we would change it to align to Hartford, but at this point, I don't think that makes a big difference, and it does allow us to hold with the tradition of giving our families that 4-day weekend. It's also nice for those 4 days for our kids, especially our younger kids. Ideally, we would put a 3-day weekend there. It puts us too late into the season. You can see we're already looking at the 15th. So instead of doing a 3-day week, I think a 4-day week would be okay, knowing that we would have 4 days off for some of our younger students to recuperate. You can see that we have the 23rd highlighted of September. The MVREA and along with our the SAU office are thinking about adding some professional development for teachers, some half days. The MVREA has asked for 3 more early release days so that they could do more professional development on those days. I am concerned that that may impact some of our parents. So I'm not sure, but I put down in highlighter some days that we could potentially use. So those 3 days you'll see highlighted there are potential days that we could use for some more time. The one thing I might suggest doing is relooking at the calendar, the finalized Hartford calendar. The March 3rd date that I have highlighted, we could remove that date because Hartford is in school for the full day that day, and potentially put that on the 30th of March. And Hartford actually has an early release day on that day too. So it would give us an early release day into another, a teacher workshop day. So it would work out. It might be easier for our families if they thought about it that way too. And it does allow another day. You'll also see that we have held to the October 7th early release day. Hartford does have a full day that day, but we have chosen to do our early release days typically happen along long weekends. So we have done that one, held firm to that one, which we also had this year. November 10th is the next early release day, and that abuts to Veterans Day. It also allows us calendar-wise to provide report cards for conferences. So that's ample time to do that, but that is a day where we also stray away from Hartford. Then you'll see the December break, the 13th, another early release day in January, abutting to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Then looking at February, that would be potentially adding in another early release day. I wouldn't put it any later than the 3rd. I like them on a Friday afternoon. I think if we're going to add them, that works better for our families. We have not put out a survey or asked families any of this, just in the matter of transparency. Then the March suggestion I've already given. April vacation is pretty locked in. Conference time here on April 19th does vary from the Hartford calendar, but it allows us, after the quarter closes, to potentially have enough days for teachers to have their report cards completed, to then then have a meaningful conference with parents. May 22nd, or May 3rd rather, is another early release day. Another time where we do differ from the Hartford calendar, and then we move on to the close of school in 2023. So I'm willing to take any suggestions. It was asked that we add those 3 days in. If the board thinks that may be too much for parents and would like to add in 1, I'm sure that 1 is better than none. If you wanted to add all 3 or 2, we would also be, I'm sure people would be receptive with that. You can also kick me back to ask parents if you'd like. That's why I didn't want approval. It says approval on here, but I really want this to be transparent to our parents. I don't want parents to all of a sudden go, oh no, I need to find childcare now for 3 more days, or their flavor may be, that's okay, it's just another couple hours, we might be able to cover it. I want to be fully transparent. Everything I know is hard in this pandemic, and I don't want to make things any harder for our community.
I will have to say that the parents are grateful for the Fridays.
They are,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yes,
Yeah, I think so.
because I know the one in April, on that Wednesday.
Yeah.
We have more kids that are going back to school because parents forget, and parents don't make arrangements,
Right.
so we're bringing lots of kids back to school.
Ugh.
But the Friday one, sometimes our buses are empty. Kids are going home different ways, you
Right.
know? So going with friends or whatever, you know? So, and as far as 3, I think 3 is too many.
Yeah.
I could do the one in September, and the March 30th, I think would, as long as, and I am very mindful of the Hartford OTech kids.
Yeah.
It seems that the second class always gets shorthanded, the
Yes.
juniors.
The second half.
Yes,
Yeah.
So we're
the
gonna-
10:30 class.
We're gonna bring this back up again, because I don't have a hard copy to even look at, to go by.
Oh, what'd you say? I can give you this one.
When's in your packet?
No, it's not, I looked at my own back, I've been
Here.
sitting here mindful of everything.
Yeah,
I
take
mean, we're not gonna approve it tonight, but those
Yeah.
are, so I circled the 30th of March. And the 3 highlighted dates were the ones that were suggested by Amanda. But that's just my 2 cents for it. Kathleen?
So I just wanted to add that, there's a benefit to having the extra long weekend, especially when we have COVID to fight, but we don't know what we're going to be doing in February of 23.
Right.
So I'm looking at February 23, February 3rd as the optional one to eliminate, because it's the close proximity is like, there's only 2 weeks and then there's vacation and then there's another Friday off. And February is a short month, so I would say if you're gonna eliminate one, do it on February 3rd. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with you there. I think that is, because there's already enough days off, I would say definitely a March one, because that's the longest month, and you
Yeah.
talk to any teacher, they're like, March, because there's just no vacations, yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it's up to them. I mean, if you want to put it in the middle of the month, sure, but if they're fine with having it go up into the 31st, then that's, if they want to do something big, where they're like, we're gonna have a day and a half of stuff, and
Yeah.
really make it an event, but.
Yep, I can see a very big benefit in that, like a
Yeah.
day and a half, and it
Yeah.
also aligns with Hartford. I just
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
move. Martha was key in helping me figure that one out, so.
And the other thing is that the February vacation now aligns with most of the rest of New Hampshire. The
Yes.
state,
Yeah.
the southern part of the state
I
is
know.
all
Yeah.
a week behind us,
Yeah.
and everyone up here is with us, but no, that makes more sense.
I think it's the same for April vacation.
They do that on purpose.
Yeah, so kids can work in the ski.
They do it on purpose, the state does that.
So, okay, so those are the suggestions.
So you're gonna bring it back to us again.
Yes.
Yep, so we'll go ahead and do that. I mean, I don't think we're bound into the April early release day on Wednesday or the May one also on Wednesday. We could put those up to Fridays if
Yeah.
that works better for people.
Well, aren't those the
Conference.
scheduled, those are the conference days, right? And I know a lot of parents like the afternoons.
Yeah. It doesn't matter Wednesday
I mean,
or
the
Friday.
weather's decent in April.
Yeah.
It's better than doing it in February.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh,
No, we would want to keep those two, just, it wouldn't matter if you wanted to keep them on a Wednesday or put them on a Friday. I think maybe either on that, I believe that's running the same calendar schedule that we had this year, so parents may be accustomed to
Yeah.
those.
Question, is Hartford's calendar approved yet?
It is approved, I did check that today,
Okay,
so he had it approved just last week.
okay.
So it is approved, I have their final approved calendar.
Oh,
Now,
thank you.
not saying that that might not change, but we have that hopefully. I have the email confirmation that it was approved.
Okay.
I have one small question. Is there any reason we didn't add 1 or 2 more days, like the 21st or 22nd of December? Just to get it close, just to pick up a day or two?
We just went by what the Hartford vacation was.
That would be a day to pick up, would be the 21st, if you wanted to bump it up a day.
Right.
But,
No,
Sunday.
there's too much going on then in December.
I think they did, in remembering some of my meetings with the advisory board, they did want to extend it, right? This year, we had only 2 days.
short, yeah,
It
the really
was
short
like
week.
only 2
Yeah,
days.
yeah, you get- yeah.
And so they did extend it to 3 days off and only 2 days on. So that had been a request
Oh, yeah, well,
Too close to
from another
Christmas.
district.
Just curious.
Too close to Christmas.
Okay,
So we'll do another draft and we'll bring it back next time. We'll add in those suggestions. So
Okay.
we'll look at the 23rd being okay as an early release day in September.
yes.
We'll look at February 3rd, removing that as an early release day and not having one in that month.
Yeah.
Then we'll look at adding March 30th so that we have a day and a half for
Right.
professional development.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect, thank you.
30th would be half a day,
Yes,
you're talking about?
yeah, early release on the 30th.
okay.
But you're gonna have to survey the parents, because they're gonna find out that they got almost a day and a half. They got Friday, and they got that Thursday.
Yeah, they typically have that Friday.
Oh, they do.
Okay, so we have a outdoor classroom request, let's see, grant request to the Byrne Foundation. Amy Stewart wrote us a letter,
Oh, yes.
and attached is the information for Harrison's. I guess this is about $7,100, and they're looking to seek in-kind donations. And Dave Schindlinger has agreed to partner with them to create a timber frame of 16 by 20 outdoor classroom for EVS. So did they already send a request to the Byrne Foundation?
Kamala, do you have Amy Stewart participating here this evening?
Oh, my gosh, been sitting on the whole time.
Cool.
Which we can vote this.
Hi.
Hi, Amy,
Yeah,
welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no problem. It's been interesting. I've enjoyed watching.
Okay. So tell us,
Um,
what would you like to do?
So we are proposing an outdoor classroom very similar to the one that's at the IRS and the MVRHS campus. So that teachers can feel more comfortable taking their children outside to extend learning experiences and just to be outside. At EVS right now, we get a lot of sun on the playground. I tend to use a wooded area next to the parking lot for my outdoor classroom time. My kids typically spend between 1 and 2 hours outside every day, and it would be awesome to have some kind of shelter for us. So Harrison and I have been working together with Dave and Kobe and a few other teachers at our school, and just trying to do the legwork to get the estimates on the timber frame, the roofing, the site work. MTD came over and walked around the property with us and gave us an estimate for the excavation. And we have 3 different venues of grants that we are going to ask or apply for grant funding from: the Wellborn Foundation, the Byrne Foundation, and the New Hampshire Audubon and Fish and Game Department. They all offer grants for outdoor learning. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to have a physical structure on our campus where we can hopefully encourage more teachers to get outside with their children.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Okay, does anyone have any questions for Amy? Have you already submitted a request to the Byrne Foundation, or is this?
No, we haven't yet, because Harrison advised me, due to the amount of money we were asking for, that it was best to get your approval first.
Thank you, Harrison.
You know Harrison, he's very black and white.
All right. Does anyone have?
I wanted to do it the right way too. And, I know that everybody at Mascoma is so supportive of getting children outside and inspiring them. And, but I wanted to present this to you so you guys know what's happening at our school as well.
So you were able to talk to Dave Schindlinger, and that's really awesome, because that's, a double whammy. You get the kids learning how to build stuff and giving back to the community. The only thing I wonder about is logistics and how he's going to get them from here to there, because it was one thing to build it here on this campus. I know it's just like 2 miles down the road, but that's just something to think about. That's all. Like how,
Definitely.
How he's going to figure out the logistics of getting students over there to work on it. Whether it's, we're going to do it on weekends or whatever, but, that's the only thing. But I really appreciate it. Is there any CARES Act money at all left? Any kind of thing for outdoor classroom, or any of that? Is all that closed and gone?
Well, I've been spending a lot on PPE lately.
Yeah.
So we would really have to look at it. If she
Yeah.
could, if this is a very solid plan, and with
Yeah.
your approval, if they can move forward with it,
Yeah.
and she can receive this money, it would probably be best.
Yeah.
But if not, we might be able to find some.
Yeah, if there's like a gap or something like that.
Thank you.
Amy, do you anticipate that beyond the funding sources that you mentioned for grants, that there would be any additional funding that would be needed?
Right now, I don't believe so. We're also going to apply for a mini grant from Friends of Mascoma. And, this is something that could potentially, over the next couple of years, we could add on to it. We talked about the possibility of adding gutters and like a rainwater barrel, a pizza oven outside, solar powered. And then we could expand to like having a school garden. So I think as funding comes along, like we've applied for this funding and, to get us started and get the physical structure. And then as needs arise, we might ask for more money from different sources. But this seems to be pretty solid at this point.
And who will be the chef of this pizza?
Chef Harrison.
I know, Chef
I can see
Harrison.
it and everything, yeah. He'd do it too.
We're gonna let the kindergarten class do it. My kindergartners.
Yeah, right.
Oh, where on the campus? I know it's really small, but
yeah.
where have you found a spot? I know you talked to MPD.
So we did. We had a couple spots in mind. One of them would have required to have the site surveyed and to have trees taken down, and that was off the parking lot. So right now, Tim, I think you helped us to set up the composting station. So
Yeah.
it's going to be over by the composting station and by the shed. We already have like a shed right there. We figured having it close to composting would be good. We have some raised beds over there, and that might be with drainage issues, that was the best possible place.
Cool.
Very nice. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? Any other comments?
Yeah, I think it's great.
I'll be waiting for the pizza.
That's right.
Yeah.
Imagine the fundraising
And we see
having
this.
a monthly pizza night.
Well, I think it will be a great opportunity to get community and family involved. Not only Dave, had talked about asking community help, not for the raising of the timber frame, but for other work. And then, it could be a venue for the PTA to use things and to have meetings. And I really think that getting the community engaged, because I do feel parents have been disengaged over the last 2 years. And this is a great opportunity to get them involved, and it's outside. So I'm very excited about it, and I really appreciate your support.
Sounds great. It sounds great.
Nice work.
Yeah,
All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we allow Amy Stewart to proceed with solicitation of donations for the outdoor classroom.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. Anything further? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions? It's unanimous. Congratulations and keep us posted.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Thank you.
Outdoor classroom grant request to New Hampshire Fish and Game.
So that was all of them.
That was all of them together, okay. And then we have 2 donations. First donation is a $2,500 donation from the Royals Athletic Boosters Incorporated for the wrestling warm-up. Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept the gift of $2,500 from the Royals Athletic Boosters for wrestling warm-ups.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. All right, any discussion? I see that the original check was misplaced.
Yes, there was a letter, it wasn't included in your packet, but it was submitted earlier, and
I believe Coach Stebbins submitted it. Or did it
no,
come
it
from
came
you
with
all?
it came with the check, but
Sorry
yes,
about
there was a
that,
mini
yeah.
grant that Coach Stebbins had applied for. Yeah.
But that had never come here before for prior approval. Right?
The letter,
The misplaced check, it didn't get that far.
Correct.
No.
No, it did not get that far.
no, the letter and the check went to Mr. Brown, and then Mr. Brown put it in a different envelope to come down to the SAU, and somewhere in the transition,
Yeah.
the original check fell out of the letter. The letter came through with no check,
Yeah.
Oh,
so
no.
replacement check was given.
The auditor didn't catch it.
Yeah.
There you go. In the short term.
And these are wrestling warm-ups, they're not the personalized ones that you see kids get, like t-shirts with their names on them. These will become part of the uniform, so they'll
Okay.
stay. And there was a lot of community support for this.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstentions? Okay. Donation of $2,000 from Joseph and Maureen Barnes for the EBS pre-K playground for approval.
Make a motion, we accept the gift of $2,000 from Joseph and Lorraine Barnes for the EVS playground, preschool playground.
Any discussion?
Is there another story behind this? Because these people live in Connecticut.
No.
Is Mr. Little happen to be on this?
No.
Okay.
No,
So we do not know the story.
All right,
probably the same one that was from Connecticut that donated before. There was somebody from
Oh, yeah, there
Connecticut.
was someone
There
else.
was someone from Connecticut before that donated.
That was someone else.
That, because he went to
Yeah,
Dartmouth. All right, remember
I
that
was
one?
wondering if it was the same type of story, but maybe it's the same.
Well, it
guy.
probably is.
Maybe.
Well, thank you very much
Thank
to
you.
Joseph and Lorraine Barnes.
If they want to donate money to us, we'll take it.
Good use for these kids.
Anything
Yeah.
further?
No?
All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I don't have
Opposed?
that in front of me.
Abstentions?
Mm,
And that passes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good memory. I'll use
Okay,
that
we
one.
do have,
Tim,
Couple
you're
percent.
up.
Oh, I'm up. Brewster says I'm up.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're up again. I'm
uh,
not on Zoom with us either, so. I'm
You
ready.
can't mute me.
I'm ready. You're always secondary to get down through it.
The rescissions are in the.
There's
pulling them out.
one rescind, right? Two rescind.
Two rescinds.
Okay, I see him.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve for second reading and adoption, policy BEDDA, policy BEDD, policy BEDD-R, Policy BEDH, policy BEDB, policy BBBC, policy BEC, and BEDG.
I'll second, but did you do the BDE?
No, because there are two of them that have to be rescinded after we're done.
Oh.
So BDDE and BBC have to be.
And we had no changes in any of those, I believe they were all status quo.
So there were the changes that were suggested in the last meeting.
Oh, thank you.
So for instance, BEDDA, we did add in the Robert's Rules of Order definition of to abstain.
Okay.
And then I believe there was some clerical removing of double periods to just provide consistency. So the requested changes that have been asked were made. Other than that, no other changes.
Do the bottom one?
I have one concern, and I know, didn't see this last time, on policy BEDB, agenda preparation and dissemination. The second to last paragraph, it says, when the final agenda has been established, it will be made available to the public upon request. Is that what we really want? Because I believe it's posted to the website.
I believe that satisfies that requirement.
Okay, so just by, so you want to keep upon request? So not say, made available to the public via the website, we don't want to be specific, is that?
No, we want to be a little more broad. If we did need to print it out, if someone did walk into the SAU office and ask for it, we would print it out for them.
Okay.
Yep,
Yep,
no,
that's all
but
I
thank you
wanted.
for thinking of us, so this is, with this, we can handle that.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the policies as presented for second reading and adoption, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions. That passes unanimously.
And I'll make a motion to rescind policy BEDDE, policy BDC. Those are rules of order and board member resignation, the old policies.
Correct.
And I'll second.
Thank you, Kathleen. And is there any other comments or questions on this? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the rescinding of these two policies, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and abstention. Agenda items for the next meeting, senior service project, Tim, yes?
Add that in there.
Would you like that as a presentation?
No, I think just well, I mean, she can have a short presentation.
Short presentation.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you want to put it in the front part of the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
I think
think
that'd be
so.
good.
Yeah.
5 minutes or less. We'll do it
Yeah, she could basically just give us the same stuff that she gave the other day in showing the different types.
Yep.
And that should be fine. It's really just to start our discussion around it. Give her a direction.
I also have down the trends on co-curricular activities.
Yes.
Add that in as a, where would you guys like it?
Can it just be FYI?
FYI,
Yeah.
you got it, I can do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay.
It's not looking a lot.
Jeez,
It could be good.
I think I can do this.
Do we have any resignations and nominations for tonight?
We do.
Okay.
There you go, Tim,
Is
we're
public
up.
comment before that?
Oh, yeah?
Vicky?
Oh, I'm
I
sorry,
have before
public
that, I'm
comment.
sorry.
Yeah, he's down there.
Hi, dear.
You weren't here for so many weeks, I almost forgot.
I know, just one public comment on your outdoor classroom.
Oh.
Could you please at least meet the setback requirements by the town of Enfield?
Good point.
Because it is in a neighborhood, and, you know, I'd rather you didn't put it right on the line with the neighbors. Because it's a neighborhood.
We need to have the meeting down there when they get it built, so we can have pizza down there and get something to eat when we're doing this board meeting.
Do whatever you want.
Start.
What is a setback, Dan?
50
Side
feet.
setback of 15 feet.
Okay.
I don't expect.
It should be okay.
Thanks for getting me that.
Really?
Appreciate it. I do rep with them. He tells me which school doesn't do well, which district.
So you do have 2 resignations here. We
Good night, dear,
have
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lock the door.
two coaching resignations. 2 people that have done very well by our students, so we are very, very grateful for the work and the time and the dedication they've shown in providing co-curricular activities to our students.
Well, I'll make a motion, we accept the nominations, the resignations.
One second.
Like to thank them both.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years.
For years, very, a lot of dedication, a lot of time goes into this,
That's right.
so we're much appreciative.
It'll be interesting with the spring right around the corner
Yeah.
That's a very tight,
and a struggling.
it's a very tight turnaround.
I got somebody already, as soon as this comes up, I have somebody that's interested in this.
Well, I believe we're posting it tomorrow, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Send them out.
Well,
Didn't didn't know, yeah.
Anything else? All those in favor of the motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Red, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no abstentions. And do we have any non-public tonight?
Do for the purposes of hiring.
I'll make the motion to go non-public in accordance with RSA 91-A, colon 3, Roman 2, subset B.
Second. I'll second it. Do a second.
Bruce to go,
Yes.
Tim Josephson.
Yes.
Danielle Thompson. Yes. Kathleen Casey.
Yes.
Holden Stone, no.
Yes.
Megan Stride.